We've been talking about the possibility of Lindy to the Sabres on the show. Every time it's come up, Sean's been a little sad. Here's a little clip.
I'm a Coyotes fan. Them moving, pretty bad. The Sabres hiring Lindy Ruff again would be the worst thing any of my franchises have ever done to me as a fan, outside of selling the team. And
Sean, help us on the way. Lindy's come. He's on the way. Don't you worry.
Lindy going back to Buffalo would be so miserable.
I would definitely, like, I want to make it very clear right now, I am so anti that idea. If it happened, I would so quickly brainwash myself into being pro Lindy Ruff. But as of right now, I don't want it.
All right, so here's where I feel cheated. You're being a little bitch, Sean, and you're not sticking to your word.
I'm not yet, at least.
Sean, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
What is the Sabres' objective? What is the Buffalo Sabres' objective? Wrong.
It should
Didn't
be.
answer in time. Pete, what is the Buffalo Sabres' objective?
Make the playoffs.
Close. Sean, what is the Buffalo Sabres' objective?
It should be to win a Stanley Cup. I think it's just to end the drought.
It is for sure not to win the Stanley Cup.
It's not to win the
Let's live
Stanley
in
Cup.
reality here.
Yeah, come on.
I said it should be. I didn't say it was.
Baby steps, pal.
2 more guesses. Pete, what is the Buffalo Sabres' objective?
Accountability.
Pete's been giving some very good answers. Sean, I know you're sad, but
Straight up vibes. Just bring back the vibes.
the Buffalo Sabres' objective is to cut the shit. And they needed to bring in some sort of veteran coach, someone who'd been around before. Like, David Carl wasn't happening for me. I didn't want them to go get Jay Woodcroft because he wasn't experienced enough with actual success. So what do you want? Do you want, like, Todd McClellan? Lindy Ruff is 1,000 years old. He's 64. Yes, he's been there before, and it was a while since he went to the Cup final with them. He's not a perfect coach, but what did the New England Patriots do in the 90s when they were floundering, had a bunch of high draft picks, young guys, weren't really figuring out? Who'd they hire? Did they hire Bill Belichick? No, they hired
Bill Parcells.
Bill Parcells, and he got them to
Pete Carroll.
cut the shit. He got them to cut. Very good. He got them to cut the shit. So for where the Sabres need to go right now, they just need to cut the shit. And that is my sales pitch to you. I will give you the fucking floor. And I know that you're not going to do anything with it because you don't want to talk and you don't want to do anything. You just want to go fucking back to bed.
Before Sean gets a chance. So here's my rebuttal as to why I think this is not cutting the shit for the Buffalo Sabres. Because what happens anytime a spot opens up with the Buffalo Sabres in a leadership role, whether it's coaching, whether it's a GM, they always go into their own fucking Rolodex and find like the first name that's at the top of the Rolodex. Lindy Ruff has already coached there. Yes. And he's an icon in Buffalo. Sure. But we have enough evidence of recently to say, I don't know if Lindy Ruff has it to coach in the NHL anymore. And guess who has coached under Lindy Ruff? Kevin Adams, current GM of the Buffalo Sabres, who you can argue in his own right was we're just going to hire this guy because he's already in the building. Kevin Adams was the VP of Business Administration for 1 year before being given the Buffalo Sabres general manager job. And now Kevin Adams is hiring his guy, who is Lindy Ruff from like 10 years ago.
Okay. Take Lindy Ruff's experience and familiarity with the Sabres out of this. And Sean, you're just proving, you're like, I'm not fucking doing this. I'm not having. Sean you're despondent.
Yeah, I mean, because every reason you want to give me doesn't mean anything because they can cut the shit all they want. That doesn't matter. They need to win hockey games. I was talking about this with one of my friends yesterday. It's like the Buffalo Bills. The drought, we want to end the drought. Eventually, that's not going to be worth shit. I don't care that the Sabres missed the playoff or the Bills missed the playoffs for 18 straight years. I don't care because now they're a good team and they don't win in the playoffs when it matters. That's been Lindy Ruff's MO his entire career. The closest he's gotten was the Cup against the Stars. Since then, he has gotten close, but can't do it. And now he's with probably the worst roster he's had in his coaching career.
Wrong.
No, yeah, no way.
The Stars
this roster is good.
This is a good roster.
Massive
and
holes.
The Devils, when he took over, were fucking Dickhead City.
Yeah.
It was a goaltender, and that was it. And the goaltender didn't even end up being good.
But where did they get? You talk about cutting the shit, but it doesn't. They didn't.
They got to the playoffs.
Cool.
Yeah, I know. I get what you're saying, and I'm not excited about the Lindy Ruff hire, but I do think that there is an element of he does bring an element of something that you need. And he probably will get them, if not to the playoffs, pretty close. Like, and I know that doesn't mean anything.
They were pretty close already.
I agree. But like they were standing in their own way. I don't know if the Sabres are going to stand in their own way if it's not Lindy Ruff. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that Lindy Ruff is... he's probably going to get that team to the playoffs eventually. It's going to be extremely frustrating in the road to getting there, but he'll probably get them there.
This season, next season. And
I
I've
don't know
been
if that
saying
happens.
since before this season that they're going to make it next season. I feel better about them making it next season even more now.
Yeah,
Well, they got two goalies.
I will say that is one thing I will say is that they needed, like, this is a team that should have been in the playoffs, and they just needed a different voice. So like any actual experienced hockey coach, I think, is going to make them a marginally better team than they were this year. But as I've said multiple times, I think there were better options available.
I agree.
Namely Craig Berube, who checks off all of the boxes that you want and hasn't already done this shit. Like, that's the thing. Like, he started the drought. Lindy Ruff started the drought. Kevin Adams was an assistant coach for the Buffalo Sabres for a year and a half. Why? Because he got fired after the end of that second year because the Sabres sucked. He was on that, like, Kevin Adams started the drought too. And now we're doubling back 15 years later with 10 years later with the exact same people. That makes no fucking sense to me.
5 things. 1, I would have preferred Craig Berube. 2, I don't know if Craig Berube would have preferred the Buffalo Sabres.
That's
so this
fair.
could be he doesn't want them. He's waiting to see who ends up getting fired, where they pounce on Lindy Ruff because Lindy was going to get another job, right? We were all talking about, we were like, he's going to go somewhere because there's only 8 guys who coach in the NHL and they're all white, and that's just the way it is. It sucks, but whatever. If you're the Buffalo Sabres, you need old guy, someone who will yell, someone who they won't want to disappoint, not for fear of he's going to yell at us or get mad at us, but just like, you don't want to be around an upset old guy. It's just not good for vibes. So it's going to force them to correct their own vibes. This, I think, was possibly their best option, assuming Berube couldn't do it, because I don't want Carl. I don't want Woodcroft. I don't want fucking Todd McClellan. And honestly, if it wasn't Lindy, it would have fucking been like McClellan more than it before. It would have been somebody. You would have taken.
I would have taken almost any other person that had been brought up in this coaching search other than Lindy Ruff. We've done this already. The same thing happens everywhere he goes. He gets a team to overperform slightly, and the Sabres are past that point already. They're past the point of getting a mediocre roster to overperform. They are at a point now where they need someone who can win, and Lindy Ruff has never won in his entire career. He has not done it.
You can't say out of one side of your mouth that Lindy Ruff has never won and then also be like, the fucking Sabres got robbed in what, 98, 99, whatever it was?
Yeah, I mean, they did, but that doesn't change the fact that they ultimately didn't win. Like, he hasn't won a cup.
I mean, I think that now your Bills fandom is skewing your expectations, because I think that you understand with the Bills, getting to the playoffs ain't what we want. We're playing for trophies here for a long time. You just want to fucking get to the playoffs. I'm not saying I'm doing the royal you for Bills fans. I think that you're maybe conflating the Bills and the Sabres experience, because really, I do think the goal for the Sabres has to be cut the shit, show a little progress here.
I think that we're ignoring a really big part of this too, is that it fucking matters who Lindy puts on his staff. As we've seen what happened in New Jersey when he had Andrew Brunette versus when he didn't have Andrew Brunette. If Lindy has a good staff around him, that could make the Lindy Ruff experience way more palatable.
Yeah, I just don't have much faith that that's going to happen, because as we've discussed, like, this is now...
He's only allowed to hire former Buffalo Sabres.
Yeah.
So
Rob Ray, you are the assistant coach of the Buffalo Sabres.
We all silly like the mayor.